any connection to baseball before this job? Anything that were you a fan? Were you interested? Was it just
Yeah, I was a casual fan. I would watch it on TV. I may have attended one or two baseball games here and there. So my original entry, which is why I started out by saying that I think my career did a 360. So my original entry into baseball was about 12 years ago, I think it was, when I worked at Major League Baseball.
okay?
And so and how I got there was also interesting. I was working for Mike Bloomberg as his deputy press secretary. Um,
Okay.
but after the smoking ban, I connected to Mike Bloomberg, who was a big proponent of the smoking ban. So I was connected to his press secretary, and I had a meeting with him, and he offered me a job. And so I came on board to work for Mike Bloomberg as a deputy press secretary for the city of New York. And I managed a portfolio of a series of different city agencies. And I was working there I was starting to make more contacts with media, more contacts with publishers of different publications. And at the time, I became very friendly with a woman by the name of Rosanna Rosado. So Rosanna Rosado was the publisher of the largest Latino newspaper here in New York, El Diario La Prensa.
Okay.
And so Rosanna took me under her wing and kind of just gave me advice from time to time. And someone had sent her a job opportunity over at Major League Baseball. And she forwarded it to me and she said, "Oh, wouldn't this be a great next step for you?" And I remember looking at it and writing her back, "I don't know the first thing about baseball." I said, "I'm a casual fan. Like, I don't know if I could do this." And she said, "Well, sometimes you just go in for an informational interview and you find out about the organization and you see where that takes you. And so I'm always open to learning. I think that that's one of the things that has helped me is that I never think that I can know enough. I'm always very curious about what else is out there. And so I I submitted my information and I asked them for an informational interview, and that informational interview turned into 9 other interviews before they came back and they said, "Well, we kind of want to make you an offer." And at the time they wanted someone who could help them publicize um the initiatives that they were doing to increase the number of African American players in the sport.
Mm.
And so my background from Edelman, which lended itself to targeting different ethnic audiences, they seemed to really like. And
Yeah.
so they offered me a director of multicultural and charitable communications position over at MLB.
Nice.
And so I was there for about 3 years. And that's where I really learned more about baseball. That's where I learned about all the different initiatives that happen throughout the year, All-Star Game, the community involvement of players, and all of that.
Mm.
And so I got a taste of that. And then Mike Bloomberg decided to run for a third term. And so I was loyal to Mike, and
Mm.
I got a call from someone in Mike's office telling me, we would really like you to come back and work on the campaign. And I
Mhm.
had the political government bug in me, so I said, well, how do I pass up an opportunity to work with some of the brightest and best communications advisors that
Mm.
Mike Bloomberg was hiring at the time. One of my biggest mentors had been Howard Wolfson, who I worked with on the
Mhm.
campaign. So for me, it was an opportunity to work side by side with him. So I decided to leave baseball and go back to Mike.
Yeah, well, it is very interesting because running a graduate sports management program and talking with a lot of young people who think they want to work in sports is because they're great fans of the game. They have great knowledge of the sport, but we always stress, look, it really isn't about that. It's about being, having an expertise in business in some way or fashion, and that's why you were perfectly aligned with what they wanted to do, I think. And that's
Yep.
really, speaking just now to anybody who's listening about looking at your career, this is something, go for the skill sets first. Don't worry about, where they fit because, whether it's politics, obviously you've been there, you've been in corporate, now you're with a pretty big MLB PA and and that's and obviously those things, pursue your passion is also something we like to say. But so so you've got a chance now. You're obviously probably a bigger or more of a fan of the game, and you've gotten just in the last, since we've started communicating, you've been to London for the Cubs Cardinals series. You've been to Seattle for the All-Star game. What's that all like? That's got to be a lot of fun for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely work. I always tell people because
Mhm.
they'll see you going here and there, and everyone's like, "Oh, I wish I could do your kind of work." And I always tell everybody it's work,
Yeah.
and jumping from one plane to another, it sounds amazing, but then it takes a wear and tear on your body and everything.
Hmm.
But events like the All-Star game are really a major opportunity for me to connect in one place with all of the media that covers baseball. A lot of them come to these events, and so for me it's a great opportunity to network, find out what kind of stories they're working on, what's of interest right now, what's the hot topic in baseball. And it's a good place for me to really have conversations with them. And so the All-Star game for me is definitely part of my work. And um, the London series was really amazing because I've been to London before, but to be there on a work trip to watch baseball in London, sometimes you have to pinch yourself and say, am I really here?
Hmm.
Is this really what I do? And that was also meeting a little bit more of the international press and just
Hmm.
being able to see, how the sports is appreciated in other parts of the world.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's obviously you're fluent in Spanish and
Yeah.
English, obviously very well spoken in those two languages. Is because some people speak more, so I offered at the beginning that I don't speak Spanish, so and I'll ask you at the end if you want to say something in Spanish is fine. So this is exciting, and what give maybe just a typical day for you. You live in Manhattan and you get to work. Is that where you live in Manhattan?
I
Yeah.
live I live in Riverdale in the Bronx.
Oh, okay, okay, great. By Manhattan College.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. All
Yep.
right. And so you're I assume everybody's fully back in the offices and stuff, or are you doing a lot of remote stuff still?
Yeah, we have sort of a hybrid schedule. We come
Okay.
in 2 days a week and we work the rest of the week from home.
Okay.
And we have an opportunity to choose the days that we come in. And we have the departments come in at staggered times. So
Hmm.
being in communications, we kind of take the middle of the week and we're in the office the middle of the week so we can meet with all the different departments, since communications pretty much supports a lot of the work of other areas for the PA.
Hmm.
So but it's nice. I like the hybrid schedule. Like I when I'm in town, I come in my 2 days and it's nice to connect with my colleagues and other folks here in the office. Um, I wish I could say there's a typical day, to be honest with you. Everything is always different. One
Hmm.
day I could be, writing a press release for an upcoming event. Another day I could be talking to different reporters about different topics. Another day I could be uh, it's just a variety of different
Hmm.
things that happen in a day. In addition to talking to media, we also communicate with our membership. So
Hmm.
sometimes it's writing, content for our website. Another day it might be writing a memo that may go out to the players, or
Hmm.
just we do these bulletins that update them on things that are happening.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
the beauty of the job is that there's different audiences that we communicate to,
Hmm.
and we get to, so there's a variety in the communications. Sometimes it's
Hmm.
media, sometimes it's our membership,
Hmm.
sometimes it's even our internal staff,
Hmm.
which gives me that variety that I so love, and that I've loved from having all these different jobs and being able to
Hmm.
learn how to communicate with different audiences.
Hmm. Well, clearly you're a wonderful communicator, and obviously you have those internal audiences and external, and there's two different, ways of communicating with both. But I'm curious, and this is an honest question. I don't know the answer, but but do you share or speak to members of other players, because they're all New York based, NFLPA or NBA or NHL. Do you ever communicate with those organizations or those people?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we've started, we were doing things together for a while. We would, whenever there was, a common topic that we wanted to maybe support as sports unions, we would get together and we would talk about it, and we would maybe write a statement about whatever it is that we were working on. And so the last combined statement that we did was for the Writers Guild, in support of the Writers Guild that were on strike. This was back in May. So we exchanged emails and we talked to each other, and we put together a combined statement in support for them, for those workers. But we've decided to make it more of a regular thing. So we have these monthly meetings where we get together and we talk about, what's happening, some best practices from each organization. So we're very friendly, we very supportive of each other, and the communications departments, communications people meet together, the social and digital folks meet together. So we have a really nice crossover of information, and keeping in touch with each other and making sure that we're supporting each other.
Again, appreciate your time, Sylvia. Very nice of you to take the time to talk to us. If you'd like to say anything in Spanish or a Spanish speaking audience, feel free. Maybe just a quick hello or something about. You don't have to. We can
No, sure. Es un orgullo para mí trabajar aquí como una latina, como la directora de comunicaciones. Un orgullo de representar a tantos peloteros latinos, y muchísimas gracias por oír esta entrevista y por pasar un poco de tiempo conmigo.
Tremendous. Thank you for Latin Business Today, and thank you again, Sylvia, for taking the time. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dave.